much appreciative for all the folks that volunteered to invite us into their shops, show us all kinds of neat tricks and tips for this evening. Um, Hopefully, on the next segment, we'll have even more people. We had 15 people show stuff tonight. It was really insightful for a lot of stuff that was shown. Some of the other stuff, really made you scratch your head and go, huh? Do that Arsenio Hall look. Um, and yeah, all in all, just another great meeting, put on by the folks, that are all contributing. And I think at a high point we had 106 people on the night, and that held for a good hour. So that was real nice. And then it went down to 96 and 94 and held, for another hour. And then afterwards, 65 to 70, just bouncing back and forth between those ratings. So that's really good, so we must be doing something right. So hopefully, like I said, 3 months, I want to do, try and do the tips and tricks, every quarter. So at anytime somebody has something they want to show, they don't have to wait until the week before or 2 weeks before or the month before when I'm making the announcement on the tips and tricks. If you got something, plan on showing it. Today, it's March, so sometime in June, holler, shoot me a message. I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm on the contact list. Most of y'all already got my contact info to begin with. Friends either on Facebook or on the group page. Just drop a message, and I will get you on the schedule. So now is the unofficial, where we let our hair down.
Well, I had a lot of fun tonight. There's a lot of great ideas. Thank you very much, Dane.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, you bet, Matt. Thank you for inviting us in, and it's nice to see you're not all bundled up. So that's good.
Yeah, it hit 72 today, and but I think we're supposed to get snow on Sunday, so it's we're heading into third winter again. We've had second
Right.
fall, spring, and yeah, it's nice
Yep.
to be in wearing a single layer. It's good.
Right.
72 with snow coming. That's great. I like
Yeah,
that. You got
yeah,
variation.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
gonna be in the it's gonna be in the 20s Sunday night, so it's like, yeah,
it,
baby.
it's 60 some degrees here right now, Matt, and they're calling for snow tomorrow night.
Yeah, you're getting it. You get it before I do, Scott. So yeah.
Yep, it's beautiful around here.
Yeah, last 2-3 days have been spectacular, and yeah, I've had the shop open, doors open, fans going. It's been lovely. And
I went for a bicycle ride.
there you go. It was beautiful today. It was sunny. The sunset was pretty even. Who knew?
Yeah, it was 72 here in New York State today, and supposed to be warm again tomorrow, but by the end of the week, it'll be, by Saturday or Sunday, it'll be cold again.
Gotta love it.
Y'all,
Gotta love it.
y'all got the same temperature I got here in Tucson, the low 70s.
Yeah, but do you got snow coming, Dane?
No, but we still got snow on the north side of the mountains here.
Yeah.
If you go up on Mount Lemon, it'll be snowy, but
just on the north side. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been there before, Dane. 110 in Phoenix and still snow in Williams.
I love it.
Oh well, yeah, definitely up there. Their weather is more like four seasons. Back east.
I got to drive 500 miles in Texas to get that kind of variation.
Right.
Hey, Dane.
I've only had to shovel snow once this year.
Yeah, I don't miss that at all.
I've had to do it a couple times.
Hey, Dane, go ahead, Matt.
I just noticed something really entertaining here. Let me switch a camera here. Let me go over here and switch it to this one. So this arm here on the wall with this light on it. Okay. I built this wall, this arm, so that it could bring light above my my howling rig on the end of my lathe. This is my lathe. Okay. And
right.
I had originally planned just to mount lights here, and I just sort of stuck this lamp here on top of it. It's just a simple clip-on lamp. and I just noticed that it's been there it's probably been like that for like 8 years. It works so well that I just haven't changed it.
Yeah, just a regular hood spotlight.
Yeah. It's just something simple. It's like, all right, I need light. Let's get her there. And then, yeah. And this arm was originally mounted on, like I have I don't know if y'all can see this, but I have let me go over here. I have a framework, a 2x4 framework that I built to hold lights over my lathe. Okay. And it's freestanding. And this arm here was originally mounted to that framework, but it didn't give me the same freedom of rotation that it has mounted to the wall. So that was an education to me because I didn't really think that through. But anyway, just it was literally the first articulated arm I ever built to get light a light into my piece above my hollowing rig, because whenever the lights that were on the lathe were always in the way of the hollowing. So
yeah, it's a struggle. It's always a struggle.
Matt,
Yeah,
I hate to change the subject, but I want to know a little bit more about your tool holder there on the far right of my view
okay, so
behind the light.
This is entertaining because what this was originally one of those racks in the kitchen drawer that held trays. It laid flat in a pull-out drawer in a kitchen cabinetry, and it held trays, and it was about this thin. And so what I did is I cut it in half here, or I cut it here, and then made these little 12-inch walnut extender rods, and so I made it wider, and it's just sort of hanging up on hooks on my little light framework back there. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I've just got some hooks in here. There's a hook here, but it's just all it is and I've got it pushed. There's a little push block right here, so it's not quite vertical. It's not vertical. It's out a little bit like that, so that the tools all roll to the back.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, when I first put them in there, like it was too vertical and things would roll out. It's like, all right, what do I do to fix this? And it's held in like the original holder was. I got a little bungee cord in here that's holding it to the. It's like that's been there as long as this light, our arm light, his thing has been here, so, or longer.
I love that idea.
Yeah, it works great. And if I ever see another one of these racks, I'm buying it because they're great. It's absolutely perfect. I could use a second one. And the truth is I only use about 5 or 6 tools anyway. So like deep fluted bowl gouge, small deep fluted bowl gouge, skew, detail gouge, parting tool. And then sometimes this is that funky ball end mill hollowing tool. And I don't hardly use almost any other tools. And I got drawers full of tools that I never use. So 5, 6 tools is all I use. So that's all it is. And it's metal, so I can stick the Cindy Drozda light right to the back of it. It's whenever I want to use it, I just pull it off of there. It's just magnetized right there. It's not in the way. So, and my clamp, I like the magnet solution. My clamp solution was this, or my caliper solution was, I just made a little sort of a weird fixture on my bandsaw and just stick them there. So I make all kinds of little things on my bandsaw, the hooks to hold stuff. So little hooks to hold things. Like there's a hook up there to hold cords, the power strip across the top there, another hook to hold cords. And then up here, I've got, that's a sanding sealer. And it's just little 2x4s.
Oh, great.
Right? You can sanding sealer, it's right here.
I love
right
it. Sanding sealer hanging up there. That's great.
So when you need it, it's right there.
Necessity is the father of invention.
Very true. Very true. So yeah, and I originally just like, I don't see so well, so I need better lighting. So I originally built this little 2x4 framework to hold a high lumen shop light above my lathe, because I was, lighting is, if you can't stop being able to see well, lighting becomes critical. So another reason why I love those little magnetized lights is Cindy drove the light and the one I built this afternoon. They're just, I need to be able to get light where I can see what I'm doing. And then once I had the framework up, I realized, well, heck, I can make stuff on the bandsaw to hold anything. So I've got all kinds of funky tool holders and I've got like, let me switch back over to this camera here. So I've got like all my vacuum chucks are just kind of stuck on there. I've got little nails to hold chuck jaws. I built a customized little thing to hold the chuck key that's now holding other stuff. So, and I got little hooks and all kinds of different things. So, and I got a little something right there to hold. I don't remember what I was holding there. Maybe that was where the hacksaw was before. But anyway, there's a whole, a whole cornucopia of things that I've got stuck on here that I've just cut out on the bandsaw to hold something. I need something to hold these things. So there's my engine valve mandrel with foam. So there you go.
Okay.
That's
Hey, guys,
it.
let you go.
Yep. Have a good night, Dan.
Yep.
So-
you have a good day too.
Yep. So anyway, that's more of the crazy stuff I got going on in my shop. So
Hey, Matt. How
yeah,
many those LED lights? How many of those lights did you wire up together in each of those
There-
little?
there's 3 of them. The voltage on most LED lights is 3.5 volts. They'll run on 3 volts. So these are
Hey, Scott, could you spotlight Matt? So we can see, or I haven't got a big picture of him.
so this is the little thing. There's 3 of those LEDs, okay, and they're in parallel, okay, and the magnets are on the back, so it'll stick to almost anything. So yeah,
And is that just like an epoxy? You epoxy them together?
yeah, and I had the epoxy I've got in the shop right now is something that somebody else bought. I usually buy JB Weld Clear Weld and the plastic weld, but this is the Gorilla Glue epoxy, and it dries clear. So I was in the hardware store this afternoon looking for sleeves, those plastic sleeves, those heat shrinking sleeves. And the ones they had were a good size, but they were all black. So I was like, well, I need something that's transparent. So yeah, the epoxy, like I said, I tried that the Tight Bond Quick and Thick. This is just the Gorilla Glue epoxy. So that's all it is. That's what I used. So and it's got a short cure time. I think it cures in like 5 or 10 minutes. Sets in 5 minutes. It says on it. So you don't have to hold the magnets very long before they're set, because they're a little close. They're a little close. They'll if they're too close, they'll like come out of the glue and stick to each other. So you got to make sure they
Okay.
don't do that while they're setting.
But
Let's
the
go back to
LEDs,
the LEDs. Did you actually cast those LEDs in that epoxy also?
Yeah, what I did was I soldered them. There's a piece of copper wire on each side.
Yeah,
okay,
I saw that.
and I soldered them to the copper wire, and then I soldered the wires, the power wires, one to each side. And LEDs are they're diodes. Okay, so they've got a direction. So you got to make sure you test everything before you glue everything or solder everything together. So
You
make
got
sure,
that right.
yeah, make sure that you got the polarity right, because if you got them wrong, they won't work. So I soldered everything together first, and then I epoxied the whole thing on this little piece of Lexan that I cut out.
Oh, okay. So it
So
started it based on a piece of Lexan. Okay.
yeah. Let me show that. Cut here. Okay, so there's the piece of Lexan. Okay, it's one of that. I got that 1/8" Lexan, that same one I made the wheels out of. So it's just a little square piece, and I glued the magnets in. I epoxied the magnets in first this morning, and made sure that they got good and stuck. And then I got the I soldered. There's a piece of copper wire down each side. They're all. I think this is the. Let me think. I don't remember which. I think this is the positive side, but yeah, it's just. I soldered them all together, and then I soldered the wires to it, and This is just like 24 gauge wire, speaker wire. It's only running 3 volts, so it's not like a lot of juice.
Mhm.
So, and somebody else asked earlier, you know, if there was resistors or any other circuits in there. There are not. It's just straight
Mhm.
3 volts DC. All right, and it works great. And I, you know, I don't know where I went looking to see if I could source these DVDs earlier. I've had these for years. So this is sort of like inspired by I went up to myself and two of my club members went up to the Traverse City Club this past weekend, which is 4 hours north of us here. And it's the club that Lyle Jameson is a member of. So we got to talk to Lyle and hang out with some of the other guys there and do some shop visits. And one of the guys up there has an absolutely incredible shop. He collects tools and he does metalworking. He does all kinds of stuff. He does furniture restoration. And one of the other guys had wired a couple of these up, and he was using car LEDs. And his was so bright, it was like, you know, it felt like something physical. But yeah, it's they almost, and I think he was running 12 volts. So, you know, I had to buy the power supply. I've got a box full of old power supplies, but most of them are all like 12 volts. So I had to do some circuitry work that I wasn't feeling game for today. So the 3 volt power supply works really good. So any other questions on that?
Oh, that got me.
Cool. Yeah, so he had wired it, and I was like, you know, I've been meaning to make another one of these for a long time. I'm just gonna come home and do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it's real simple. It's just the power supply and a switch and the LEDs, and sourcing your LEDs is, you know, is the tough part. So
Yeah. So not to interrupt, but I am interrupting. So I'm still doing, I'm having to give all the cats, we've been changing their diet and everything. So I'm monitoring right now to make sure no one is trying to move in onto the other's food after I gave the big boy his insulin shot. So I'm listening, but you guys keep entertaining. Good talk. I'll be back here shortly. All right.
we'll hold the fort down.
Sounds good, man.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's, you know, somebody had asked, and I think that Brent asked if they were in series or parallel, and they've got it. You got to drive them with the voltage. So if you put them in series, they're all going to offer resistance and take away the voltage, and it probably won't
Right.
work. So you got to run them all in parallel.
Yeah, that was me.
Yep. Yeah, Brent. Yep. So, and yeah, and it's just real simple. It was simpler than, you know, it's exactly as simple as it looks.
If you get them wired correctly and one of them doesn't work, that was the last times I played with them. I'd get everything working, and then I'd have one that was
Well,
wouldn't
ideally,
turn on. You got to go unsolder and redo.
yeah,
But
ideally you
that's
want to
the
get
deal
them.
with playing with them.
Yeah, ideally you want to get them cheap enough that you don't care if you got to throw one of them away.
You got it.
Yeah, and like I
And
say,
they-
these came to me free. I didn't pay anybody anything for the LEDs. So if you know, something doesn't work, then out it goes. So
Well, I
yeah,
was gifted a box that had, I think it's got 5 or 6 LEDs in a little strip. And
Okay.
I'm wanting to take them apart and use 2 or 3 to make something similar to what you just did.
Well, depending on how bright they are, and sometimes those strips, like I've got some strips of LEDs too. They're designed to be modular, so you can, you know, cut them at any point and plug power into them at any point. You know, they're designed to be cut. You know, so I think it's probably
Cut or spliced
yeah.
or elbowed.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I've been messing with them lately too.
cool. Yeah, and they make, I mean, they make like a lot of the strips now are powered with, you know, the 5 volts that are in a USB, you know, USB-A
Yeah.
plug. So, and you could, you know, if you don't like the yellow, you can make them green, for God's sake, you know. So there's a lot you can do. So, and the LEDs they're making now are brighter and better and cooler and so on than the ones. I mean, these are years old. So
You don't have any idea how many watts those are, do you, Matt?
I don't, but the output on this is 3 volt and 1 amp. So
Well, the LEDs, they're rated per watts per LED.
yeah, but like I'm saying, but this is just, you know, they can't be consuming much at all, or they'd be dim. You know what I'm saying? Because
Well,
this power supply is only a 1 amp power, 3 volt 1 amp power supply. So
Well, I'm looking to order LEDs, and they're rated per watts, and that's how many the brightness relative, I think.
Okay.
So I'm just curious.
What? That was 3 amps at how much?
the power supply is the output is 3 volts DC, 1 amp. So, you know, if these were consuming a lot more than that, they wouldn't work on this, you know, because 1 amp is not a lot of power, not a lot of current. So
Right. I just got some stuff this week for doing with like Arduino, and I noticed that the base Arduino power supply, the brightness is dropping off after about 3 meters. That's any value to you
on your Arduino.
Yeah.
At 3 meters distance.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
brightness is dropping off. So it's probably best to do like external power supply or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like my my hollowing tool came with a laser and a battery pack, right? And the laser diode is the cutter on it was a scraper, okay? So there was a lot of vibration, and the vibration was damaging the laser and damaging the battery pack and knocking the batteries loose, and it was nothing but a pain. Well, the batteries were just 2 AA's. So it was, you know, had to be a diode laser running on 3.5 volts. So I just rewired it. I just got just like I did for this, I got a 3 amp power supply and fed that into that and got a very simple laser, you know, an industrial laser module, red laser module that fit my my laser hole on my boring bar, so that I could, you know, I did almost exactly the same thing, you know, except there's no switch. Plug it in, it's always on.
Those benchtop power supplies are the way to go.
Yeah.
You keep control of the amperage and voltage precisely.
Yeah, and some of them are controllable. So yeah. Yep. It's pretty easy to deal with.
Grab it.
Do you want it?
I think I'm gonna head in, fellas. Thanks for the evening.
Matt, sounds good. Hey, thank you for covering.
Oh, my pleasure. Yep, you guys have a good night. There's a lot of, you know, this light is huge if you're trying to get, you know, light into something, and you just stick it on your tool rest or even on your tool, and you know it'll get light inside your piece really well. See what you're doing. So.
Oh, Matt, are we still on for next week?
Sure. But do you got any idea what you want me to do?
Yeah, I forgot.
I had told you that
I've been on a kick with 3-sided boxes and bases. Are you any good at those?
Well, I can do them.
Okay. All right, we'll think of something else then. Yeah, forgot we hadn't nailed down what we wanted to try and do.
Well, I had suggested that I do the natural edge goblet, but I have already done that once years ago, like 3 years ago for the club. But again, maybe not everybody's seen that. So
There's
Right,
a
yeah,
lot
exactly.
of us that have joined in the
do it.
last 3 years.
Yep, do it. Yeah. That's right. We did talk about that. Yeah, let's go with that.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. I even have wood I can do it with. So
Yay.
I was cutting up some box elder today. Oh, interesting figure. Look at the red in this, man. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Yeah, it's not coming through good. Looks brown, but yeah, definitely.
All right, let me bounce over here and switch cameras then. Switch the camera to this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it looks good.
It's got some neat streaks in it. So and the wood is compromised. It'll be entertaining for sure.
Wrong with that.
Barely even
go
chance
into it.
of having things wrecked.
Right. Well, you go into it knowing that it's going to be an issue, and so if something happens, it's expected.
Hey guys,
Yeah,
I went to my local farm supply place that's kind of out in the country today, and someone had brought in split fence posts, and one big pile of them at $5 a piece were Osage orange.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So they got loaded up and brought to my house.
Right.
Not
hey,
to
Gary.
be used as fence posts.
Gary, let me see that. Let me see that poplar hollow form.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's pretty.
It's
Yeah,
still got some work
let me
to
get you
do.
spotlighted. Let me get you spotlighted.
There we go.
All right.
That looks great.
It
Yeah, it
faded
looks
out
good.
some, and I've still got a little bit of work to do on it, but it did try to crack on me. I put it in my dryer box.
Yeah.
I have a 2-door commercial freezer unit that I stripped all the stuff out of and left the circulating fans in and wired in a heater and a dehumidifier. So I built me a kiln that's in my shop. And I only gave $75 for the big stainless steel 2-door freezer unit to start with. But this had been in it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it came out well.
Still got to do a little water sanding and all. I did have one problem. Of course, I was having some back issues at the time.
Right.
And I left it and went inside and didn't go back out that night. Went back out the next day to finish it. I had actually put a Walmart bag over it to try to retain some moisture, and the darn thing had warped enough that I couldn't finish the inside. So it's a 1/8 of an inch in most of it, but there's a place or two where it's got some bad ridges down inside that I just can't get out anymore. So I decided to live with it. I'll sand them out a little bit, but
shit, only
that
us
was my little rainbow poplar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Came out well.
Form. I needed an idea of what to do with that. Dane says, make a hollow form out of it. I'm like, okay. We'll do that.
Came out well. Yeah, I finally got mine all finished second time.
Well, once I got into looking at it, the hollow form was probably the best to do to get that much of the coloration off of that piece of rainbow poplar. It wasn't a huge piece of poplar to start with, but that was probably gave me the most color of
you wouldn't have had that
I could have
had that
done.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had that if you turned it into a bowl. You would have
No.
lost all that.
I would have lost most all of that. And if I'd have done an open base, I wound up it's 5.5 inches. I did do I tried to make the inside, the mouth, as small as I could. It was it's 1.25 inches.
Yeah.
And that saved the majority of the outside coloration. Thank you for the idea. I was
Gary.
struggling with what it was. So when it
Yeah,
got
I know.
suggested,
I
I
remember
said,
them.
"Oh, hell yeah, that'll be the best I can do."
Yeah.
Gary, how long does it take for something to dry in your kiln?
Oh, this being a piece of poplar, it quit showing any water loss in 10 days.
Oh, wow.
My box, I have constant air movement. All the fans that are in you got circulating fans in those commercial things that are blowing all the time.
Yep.
And I took the freezer unit out and chunked it. So you got this 24 by 24 by 12 inch deep box up in the top that's insulated. And I put a 500 watt heater and got it on a PDA. And I put a 2-quart dehumidifier down inside on a humidistat that's a digital control.
Right.
And I got it plumbed to where it just drains outside. And it pulls a lot of water out. Not only is it my drying box, but that's where I keep all my sandpaper. In Alabama, the humidity's, our average humidity is 72%.
Yeah, that's why we call it Alabama Dew.
Sandpaper doesn't do real well unless you keep it in something too. So I keep all my sandpaper in that box. And
so what temperature
do you special turning squares and all, and I keep it on 95 degrees.
Okay.
And the humidistat is set at 15%. And it'll dry a 2-inch piece of walnut in about 3 months. If it's 2 inches thick.
2 inches thick and how big square?
Oh, it doesn't matter how square it is. It's the thickness that it really matters. So, if I cut a 12 or 15 inch bow blank out of it and put it in there 2 inches thick, it'll start losing weight at about 90 days, maybe sometimes less, depending on what time of the year you cut it.
Right.
And all, but it's been a fantastic addition to my shop.
That's about what my solar kiln does in the summertime. Obviously, it doesn't work that fast in the wintertime because it's cold outside. But I can hold 95 degrees in there even in the winter when it's on its coldest day.
Yeah.
Because it's insulated, but you don't dare open it. I can't go in and open it. I shut the fans off to hold that heat. It just has circulating fans on the inside to just circulate the air on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But during the winter in my shop, I'm not heated and cooled. I've got certain areas where I got heaters and fans and all that going in there, but it's not temperature controlled. But if I open it up during the wintertime and leave the door open very long, it may take it with that little 500 watt heater that I've got in it. It may take it 24 hours to get back up to the temperature that I've got set at.
Yeah, we're a lot drier here.
Takes it a while, but it works great. I keep all my. If I buy a real nice piece of wood from somewhere to do, I'll just leave it in there. And then of course I leave all my sanding supplies in there. I lucked up on a whole bunch of Chittenden burl just in the last couple of weeks, and I've treated all of it. I've got it stored in there. So
Cool.
and that's some really weird wood.
Well, I got a small solar kiln in my backyard at home, and then out on our land, I got a big solar kiln that I can put 10-foot, 4 foot wide by 4 foot high, 10 foot long in there to dry lumber. It's a lumber kiln is what it's for.
Lumber kiln. Mm-hmm.
But I have I have a same kiln at home built the same way, except it's built for putting bowls and it's only 4x4.
Well, I can get 48-inch stuff in mine. If I'm gonna put planks in there, I cut them at 47 and a half or so, and I'll sticker stack lumber in there to do.
Yeah, that's what I do with my bowl blanks when I have ones that I want to dry fast,
Has anybody ever investigated a vacuum kiln of any sort? I'm thinking about trying to build one.
Vacuum kiln. Never heard of one.
Well, basically
when you put something in a vacuum, it heats up anyway, and it will draw my vacuum chamber that I use for stabilizing and stuff, I can actually pull the moisture out of a piece of green wood with it. If you immerse it in alcohol or whatever, and then you pull a real low vacuum on it, that's the easiest thing, is to pull a vacuum, immerse it in isopropyl alcohol or ethyl alcohol, pull a vacuum on it, and it'll pull the moisture out. And then when you release it, the alcohol goes in, and then the alcohol will dissipate within just a very short period of time.
Yep.
And you have something that's dry. That's the easiest way and the safest way.
Yep.
Well, the theory I've been looking at is that you put a vacuum into a chamber, you put your wood in the chamber, you reduce the vacuum on it, then you heat the chamber, it reduces the boiling point of the in the vacuum, and the moisture boils off into the wood and reduces the water and such. So and I think I can pick up a old abandoned chamber out in the oil patch here for scrap metal prices and such. So I was thinking, I don't know. I'm just curious if anybody's ever done that around here.
Well, I played with it basically for trying to dry stuff. And the deal is, Scott, excuse me, Brent, isn't it? Brent.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Brent.
Yeah.
The moisture stays in the vacuum unless you have a way of drying it, and it'll suck it right back into the wood. So what I wound up doing was replacing it with ethyl alcohol.
Yeah, you couldn't do that on the scale he's talking though. He probably wants to do, this is probably a big tank, right, Brent?
Yeah, well, I'm talking probably something in the neighborhood of 20-30 gallon chamber type thing.
Oh, mine's a 10-gallon.
Yeah, you could probably get away with 30 gallons, but you got to put the alcohol. First of all, alcohol absorbs water. That's one of the properties of alcohol.
Well,
it absorbs the water and replaces it with the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
That's the theory.
I'm in an extremely dry environment and such. There's not much, water in the air. So and I think I find a vacuum that would expel the moisture out of the chamber I think. Oh, I don't know.
Well,
But
the
then
cheaper,
you've got to reintroduce something into it.
yep. Yeah, if you're
Yeah, but-
taking the air out, you got to put something in its
You
place.
got to put something back in when you get through.
Right. When we opened the vacuum bag, it would just let atmospheric air back into it, which is at 6% moisture.
Well, yeah,
Oh.
if you're that dry, yeah, that would work. But where I am, I expel that moisture out, but then when I have to replace that, when it's going back in, I replace it with the alcohol.
Yeah,
And
that would make sense.
I have very good luck with that. And even the thickest piece of wood, 6 weeks in my dry box after it's been alcohol vacuumed, and we're ready to go.
Yeah. Just pondering, just thinking about things. So.
That's what we all try to do.
Tell you what, there was a lot of chatter on your steady rest, Brent.
Yes, there was. I loved that.
That's been a work in progress for a lot of years. And it's still got bugs. So it's good.
Well, the springs that you had on the arms,
There's no springs on it.
There are no springs.
No. I haven't thought about that, but actually now that you mentioned that, I'd never thought of springs. Maybe that's an idea. Maybe I ought to put springs on.
Well, when they were popping in and out, I thought maybe you had springs on them that held them. I was sitting there trying to figure out how I could put springs on mine.
Well, I've never considered that.
Springs would be great because it would hold
that. That's an idea.
Yeah,
Plus
springs would hold constant tension.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That. Never considered.
Yeah, I thought it had. That's what I thought too. It was spring loaded.
Yeah,
I thought it was spring loaded too.
That might
brainstorm situation.
That might solve some of my problems.
Yeah, because then that would keep the constant tension, regardless of the flex on the vessel.
Yeah,
you're right. What a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, Brent, get it done.
What am I waiting?
Yeah,
okay.
Figure that out for us, bud.
Why you still on here? How come you're not out there rehabbing?
Actually, that piece of the puzzle, keeping that into that little piece of pressure, that adjustability has been a big crux. I've had several different designs that arm that have worked, and I had one that really worked well, but it was incredibly complex. It was a super complex design, and there was just no.
Huh.
I got something to run by you.
Okay, Joaquin, what do you got?
Where'd Brent go?
I don't know. He fell off.
So, was he through?
He fell out.
He fell off.
His camera froze a minute ago, but he was still. We were hearing him.
Not on here now.
No, he's not on here. He fell out of the meeting.
He went to go put them springs in.
He went to figure that one out.
Get them springs.
What do you got, Joaquin, that you want to show us?
Well, several times I've had trouble with end grain, turning a piece, and I've used linseed oil and was successful with that. But I've got this piece here. It's I got it from Tim. It's a blue flame pine, and this the end grain is like 40 grits.
Wow!
I cannot get it. I couldn't get it smooth, and I remembered another procedure. So I've soaked it in 50-50 dishwashing soap and water.
Yeah.
For about 4 days. So I'm going to let it sit about 3 days. and I'm going to start turning it. But it's smooth now. That real rough, coarse grain that I had on this cut, it's smoothed out. Now I haven't put the blade to it to see what's going to happen. What have y'all done to correct the end grain problem like that?
Well, when I was doing furniture, Joaquin, with end grain that I was having stick, high spots, low spots that were basically like tear out. I used what you just described, and what it does is it raises the soft grain up to meet the hard grain. When you cut it, it'll do this. It'll go back again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
so instead of cutting it, cut it to your final shape, soak it like you just did, and then sand it after you're done. Don't put a blade to it. Sand it when you're done.
Yeah. Sand it.
Well, I had a guy.
I agree with that.
Yeah. He wanted to make a foot on a porch column. And he had the wood all glued together, and it was 4x4 glued together. And I had all this end grain. And so I put about 3 coats of linseed oil on it, and it turned out real good. But I didn't figure this the same. And I have used the water dishwashing soap before on pieces, and it even acts kind of like a lubricant with that much soap in it, it seems like. And so I didn't know what else was out there. Y'all had any other ideas besides this? And I'll probably turn it Friday to see what I get out of it for the finish cut. And I don't know about the inside. The inside is real rough also. But thought y'all might have done something else besides this.
Yeah, sometimes I wet sand with linseed oil. So if it's really bad, I might lubricate it, do a quick finishing pass, cut, and if it's still raised, lubricate it with linseed oil, and then wet sand. It makes a mess of your sandpaper. You sacrifice the sandpaper for a quicker, nicer finish, but it comes out much quicker than using dry sandpaper.
Yep.
And then,
Ditto.
especially with a soft wood like that, with a coarser paper, using dry sandpaper, you're going to get finger imprints and ripples with the soft and hard grain and whatnot like that. But with wet sanding with linseed oil or any type of oil,
Danish oil.
it works quite well for me.
Okay.
Yep. I do the same thing.
Kate, just rinse that sandpaper out with a little bit of mineral spirits. You only got to have a little pan with about 1/4 of an inch in it. Rinse it out a little bit, hang it up, let it dry. Use it again. It doesn't screw your sandpaper up.
But I find some of the dust or whatever may caramelize and harden within the sandpaper, and if I do that and I don't get it all out, all those harder caked on wood pieces in the sandpaper are just going to create more deeper visible scratches when I reuse the sandpaper. So I use sandpaper like someone else is buying it for me. I only use it once.
Sandpaper's cheap.
That's what I was taught.
It's a disposable.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
Use it once and chuck it.
Okay, my favorite sandpaper is from the sandpaper company that starts with a K that has an office in the Carolinas. They have a bulk box for $25 and then another one for $35 where you get all these end rolls. That's enough. $35 worth of sandpaper lasts you for 5-6 years or more.
What is that? Klingspor?
Klingspor. I just wasn't gonna name it.
No, it's after hours. There's no issues on any of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Klingspor. I swear by that stuff.
Yeah, it's great sandpaper. It's wonderful.
Box of that stuff.
I buy the hook and loop rolls that are 3 inches thick. So I cut my discs out of the same sandpaper that I used to sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
There
And
you
I
go.
buy, maybe spend $100 on sandpaper and it lasts a good amount of time, maybe half a year, maybe $200 for sandpaper all year. But that's like 2 rolls of 180, 2 rolls of 240, 2 rolls of 320, 2 rolls of 400.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
rolls are 10 meters long.
Damn, that's what I was
Hakeem, we
saying.
burned that pine that you just turned into that vessel. No, nobody up here will buy it. You can't sell it here
Why is that?
because it's blue stained.
Well, I didn't buy this. It gave to.
I'm just serious. If you ever come north,
Yeah.
to Minnesota or
Give it away,
Wisconsin,
huh?
any
Yeah.
place like that, people will give you that for nothing to get rid of it.
Yeah, it's hard sell up here too.
Yeah.
I find stained pine or colored or mineral stained pine.
And the reason it's blue stained like that is they cut it at the wrong time of the year.
Oh yeah.
So if
Mhm.
you cut that tree in the summertime or springtime after the sap starts running, even though it's a pine, it still runs sap just like a regular tree. And you cut that within 2 weeks, it'll be stained like that. That's actually a fungus.
Now, I've got a piece out there 36 inches in diameter, but it's only about 8 inches thick. I don't know whether it's like a tabletop out of it or what. And I can't get like a good end grain turning out of it. So this is my first experiment with it.
Well, you can come up here to Wisconsin and get truckloads of that and take it home with you.
Hey,
And give it to you.
Also,
Yeah.
now Joaquin, it can also be because it's pine and it's so soft, even though you're doing a light cut and a slicing cut, it's pulling those fibers apart. So sometimes if I turn soft woods, like a really nice pine burl or poplar burl or a softwood, I would harden it with Minwax wood hardener. Maybe a couple coats,
Yeah.
soak it up, or even pentacryl. You can buy pentacryl by the liter or by the gallon, and you just keep painting that on. It soaks it up like a sponge, and it'll be just like a hard maple once it's all cured and dry. And then you turn it, you cut it, and you'll have like a baby bottom finish, just as if you were doing a finishing cut on rock maple or something, right?
Yep.
Or mesquite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that hardener. I have used some. I haven't used that much of it.
It works
Yeah.
good on that stuff, Joaquin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if not, tune
Yeah,
in.
but they're
tune in
proud of it, guys.
Tune in next week because somebody's gonna show us how to make little 1-inch bowls, that sell like hotcakes. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, little end grain, just 1-inch vessels. You core them out with a 1-inch core box bit, router
Right.
bit. Stuck
They're
that thing up on your.
Standing at the garage door, waiting for them to come up the lathe.
Yeah, make them and sell them so fast we can't even take a picture and put online.
What are they doing? Drinking sake out of them?
Well,
Apparently they're smudge bowls.
What were they called?
Smudge bowls.
Smudge bowls.
When you smudge and christen and get rid of bad spirits in a home, or for like
Oh, is that what that is?
ceremony.
Oh,
Guys, I'm
man.
gonna tell you, I made a
Fudge
bunch
pots.
of little,
Or it's for ceremony.
bitty things with, and
I call
and bored them with a core bit, 1-inch core bit.
Yeah.
They were 1.5 inches in diameter, 1-inch core bit out of the center. Made a top on it, and then put my board butter in it. The 4 parts of mineral oil and 1 part wax, and called it chapstick. and people went absolutely crazy at one of the shows for them.
Hey, Gary.
It didn't take but just a few minutes to make them, and they sold like hotcakes. Then I was afraid somebody's gonna start checking my health programs on it. Oh God.
You're gonna have to say that next week when because I know next week we're gonna get these little inconsistent looking little Smudge
tiny
pots,
bowl.
whatever the fuck you want to call them.
Like at that
What a
size,
crock
you
of-
don't even have enough room to make a
Right?
smudge fire or a smudge smoke in. Usually they're in like clamshells,
Yeah.
or oyster shells. But I mean, I have seen wooden ones, but they're at least there was still within the small size of bowls, but like 3 to 6 inches.
Dave,
Not
we're gonna stop recording now.
not one.
There you go.